What's going on, guys? So there are two things that I need you to notice right now. The first one is that I'm not wearing gym clothes for a change. So if you guys like those technical videos, I guess it's safe to say that we're doing some real work in this video. So get ready for that, or click out of it if it ain't your thing. The second thing I want you to notice is my engine collection, and I'm standing in the way of it, so I guess I'm gonna move now. But since we've last talked about the Mercedes V12, I seem to have accidentally brought home another one. So we have two of those. And not long ago, this thing showed up. We're not going to talk about the M113. I'm sure it'll kind of make some comments in passing. But we're going to talk about these V12s in this episode. So if you guys remember, I declared a little while ago that my 54 Bel Air was going to receive this V12 engine as the power plant. Well, I do still intend to do that. The first step to that is figuring out all the wiring and making sure all of that works. So what we're going to do is we are going to put this engine on the stand, and I'm going to finally start IDing all these wires, because some of them are just not going to get used. But most of them are. So yeah, I have a lot of work to do. Let's get started. So basically, to get the standalone to work, we have to figure out what each one of these wires are by tracing it to the source. So in this engine, every injector has 2 wires, so there's 24 wires just for injectors. Although, actually, I think that's a lie. There should be, yeah, some of them collect there. So there's going to be, I think, 13 wires for injectors. 4 of these are for the variable valve timing this crazy thing has, and then there's going to be some that I have no idea what the hell they do. I just found out this thing has 4 crank sensors. There's one there, there's one, it's kind of hard to see, but it's right there, and then there's 2 in the back, 1, 2, and then there's also 2 cam sensors, 1, 2, and the reason this engine has 2 of some things and 4 of some things is it's ridiculous. No, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, I'm not kidding. But this engine was originally powered by 2 computers. This entire engine is actually Mercedes M104, but doubled, and they mirrored the other head, basically. So in doing so, they didn't feel like making another engine system, so they just put 2 of them in there. Alright, so I'm trying to draw the line between focusing on getting this done and not making a grave mistake, but also kind of showing you guys the process. So this is our main engine harness here. This is obviously the original M120 harness. And what I did here was I pinned out every single wire on this harness. So these are injectors for bank 2, and then we have bank 1 right here. So basically there's just 6 wires. We have our VVTs identified. I also have the, I'm calling them common wires, but really I think they're just grounds. See, that's how unfamiliar I am with this stuff, guys. Like, I don't even know what sensors need to be grounded, which ones go to something else. I'm well out of my range here. I'm pretty sure that these just get grounded, because we have our injector common wires. I mean, like, if you follow all that all the way up, for example, you have bank 1 right there. They're all soldered together. And you have bank 2 right there. And those are all together for that side. That's bank 2. This is bank 1. I have them identified at the front of the engine. I'm kind of a visual guy, so I like to just kind of take note of everything. These pieces of tapes here, this is just what cylinder is what. And in the box here, we did it on both sides. That's just the firing order. So this is the first to fire, cylinder 1. Cylinder 12 is actually the second one to fire, and so on. So there you go. There's all of them in view. But anyway, like I said, we have our common wires for the injectors, which are probably grounds, like I said. Furthering the idea that those are grounds, the VVT grounds 1 and 2 are also the same wire. So again, they're probably grounds. So we're going to make sure we have a really nice fat ground for all those in common. That's good on not just a Mercedes, but any vehicle and any V12. What else do we have here? This was our first fun fact of the Mercedes M120. You have 11 wires for the water pump sensors. So I could be totally wrong about this, but here, let me show you what we got here. So the M120, at least my M120, has 4 water pump sensors. You have one here, you have one here. Now these are clearly the main sensors used for each computer. As you can see, there's 4 wires, and who the hell knows how that's going to pin out. I probably have to look at some schematics and figure out what those even are, because we're going to try to adapt as many factory sensors as we can. Hopefully all of them, but we'll see about that. The idea is that I can make this repeatable, because this is a really cool engine, and I want to put this in as many things as possible. So to do that, we want to make as many things standard as possible. But anyway, we have our main water temp sensors, one for each bank, and then you have 2 more right here. So I suspect, and this could be completely wrong, I suspect this little guy is for the gauge cluster, and this one right here is possibly for emissions. I don't know. Again, I might have to go through some shop manuals or something and figure it out. I took all of them out, and just to rule anything out, but all 4 of these actually do go into coolant pipes. So yeah, that's enough about water sensors. I guess I shouldn't be that worried about making a watchable video on this series, just because if you're even watching this at all, you probably care about the V12. So here's how we're doing the injector wiring, and I'm not really going to film a lot of this, but I'll at least tell you how I'm going to do it. So we have the these are cylinder pairs. So basically, I took the firing order, cut it in half, and then basically the first 6 is where we do our cut. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's gonna run up the injector banks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then because these are in pairs, so it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm a visual guy, so that's kind of what we're looking at here. And then these are the pairs in numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So semi-sequential means you have 2 injectors firing basically at the same time. As far as combustion goes, I actually don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know if that's going to cause problems, shooting out fuel at the wrong times. I actually really don't know. One more note on the injector pairs, actually. I'm sure this is going to mean something to someone that's a little more familiar with how this stuff works, but I noticed with the pairs that they're always on the same side, and whatever side you're on, the next side is to fire next. And that's true of the firing order too. So look, we got 1, 12, 5, 8. They're always alternating. Every single one of these is alternating. It's on another bank. So if we look at our pairs, we have 1 and then 6. But remember, it's not firing these at the same time with the spark. So remember how I said it goes up to 6 and then it goes again? So these are always on the same bank, which tells me that this is mathematically correct and that this pattern is able to complete. So we have, obviously 1. I didn't put them in order, the firing order. I just put them in kind of whatever. But the point remains that we have our pairs, and it looks like they're correct. We got 1 and 6. We got 7 and 12. It's firing this side. Then we have 2 and 5. It's just alternating. And it kind of goes further apart and then closer together. But I don't think that in itself means much. Here's our wiring pinout on the MegaSquid system. These 2 high currents up here, you have 3 total, by the way. on the Pro Evo at least. But these extra two can be configured to output signals like an injector. So we could go full sequential here, but this engine might have some weirdo stuff going on with some of like the idle stuff, or just something I haven't really come across yet. We have our valve timing to worry about. How I was originally going to do it was run everything sequential full, so the high 1 and 2 on the last 2 cylinders, and then use high current number 3 for the valve timing. But then that didn't really leave me much for like idle air control valve stuff. So I don't know. There's actually a chance this engine is going to be idled using idle screws, you know, the old school way. Because if you look at these throttle bodies, yeah, we're not setting these up. These are on here as placeholders just to kind of keep everything closed and protected. But we will not be using these Bosch original throttle bodies. So I don't know what's replacing these just yet, but it's probably going to be a cable-driven system. I don't really see the point in getting anything more complex than that. Yeah. Alright, so we got the first roadblock here. So basically the issue is I'm trying to fire 12 cylinders off of one sensor. It's actually this one over here because this is bank 1. And that alone isn't a problem, but the problem is this pickup wheel, which basically tells that sensor the position of the engine. It only has 3 teeth on it. They're huge, but there's only 3. 1, 2, 3. So every 120 degrees, a tooth hits this sensor. But the problem is, because if you divide 720 by 12, you get 60. So every 60 degrees, you have a cylinder firing. And this isn't providing the resolution that the computer needs to do that. Now, there might be some way to supplement that with the cam sensors up at the front. I don't know yet. Somebody actually does make a pickup wheel for this engine. No idea how much it costs. It's definitely not cheap, probably. But it sounds like I'm going to be investing in that in my near future.